Bronny James, the son of NBA star LeBron James, is back home and resting this morning after suffering cardiac arrest on Monday. Doctors from Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles confirmed he was released from the hospital yesterday. Bronny's an incoming freshman at the University of Southern California's basketball team, and he was at practice when his family says his heart stopped beating. He was released from the ICU a day later. Yesterday, LeBron James released a statement on Twitter thanking people for their prayers. He says, quote, "I want to thank the countless people sending my family love and prayers. We feel you, and I'm so grateful. We have our family together, safe and healthy, and we feel your love," end quote. LeBron also said that they will have more to say when his family is ready. This brings to light an issue we've highlighted for the last several years here on Good Morning Tampa Bay. And sudden cardiac arrest, according to the Mayo Clinic, is the leading cause of death for student athletes. Florida-based organization Who We Play For has been on a crusade to require heart screenings and AED access for student athletes in elementary and high schools all across the country. They become the largest heart screening nonprofit in the United States. With me this morning are two representatives from that organization, Dr. Jamie Decker, an electrophysiologist from the Johns Hopkins All Children's Heart Institute, and Brittany Williams, who knows firsthand how sudden and unexpected all of this can be. Brittany, we'll start with you. Just a couple of years ago, somebody who is, you told me on the phone yesterday, I am in great shape, I eat healthy, I've been health conscious my whole life. Your heart just stopped.
It did, and I just never in a million years thought I would be fighting for my life at the age of 24. I was so young. I was doing everything they tell you to do at a young age, eat healthy, work out, but my life changed on December 6, 2014. We were on vacation in New York City. We were going to watch FSU playing an ACC championship game, so we found a place called the Three Monkeys. We went there, and within about 5 minutes of getting to the restaurant, my mom and dad looked over and they thought I was having a seizure. My arms were parallel out in front of me,
Right.
Eyes rolled to the back of my head, I collapsed. So they knew something bad was going on. So they looked at their friends and said, go see if there's a doctor in the restaurant now. So they were running around trying to see if they could find somebody, and they didn't bring back one doctor.
They brought back two.
Two ophthalmologists that came over, detected I had no pulse for about 8 minutes, and began performing CPR.
How old were you when this happened?
I was 24 years old.
24 years old.
Yeah, and I had no pulse for 8 minutes, and my life was saved by CPR.
Right.
And it was crazy
and
because
you come here today with a defibrillator on.
Yes.
And your life changed forever. And now you're also working with Who We Play For to try and make heart screenings more accessible to
Yes.
high school age kids,
It's
elementary.
so important.
So important. That's a good time to bring in Dr. Decker, because we're talking, one of the statistics that Who We Play For brings up is 1 in 300 kids have a potentially life-threatening, keyword here, detectable heart condition. It just needs to get detected. Are enough kids getting screened?
Probably not. Detection is often a hard thing, and so everybody gets some sort of screening process, whether it's just, the American Heart Association recommends getting a pre-sports participation physical,
Right.
As well as a questionnaire that's supposed to be provided by the healthcare provider, asking specific questions that may give a clue that there is one of these conditions present. However, a lot of these screening tests come back negative, and so Who We Play For, in addition to these screening tests, will also do an electrocardiogram, and is trying to bring that to all these student athletes throughout the state of Florida.
Right, and that's something that you obviously are working very hard to do. In your case, Brittany, as a kid, this was something that was not suspected at all. I mean, this came out of nowhere.
Exactly, out of nowhere. I had no idea until that night where I was fighting for my life. And I had to be put in an induced coma. So after I went to cardiac arrest, paramedics came, shocked my heart back. They rushed me to Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City, where I was placed in an induced coma. So I aspirated during the cardiac arrest. I got a lot of fluid in my lungs, and to prevent any brain damage or heart damage, they put me in the induced coma. So waking up 2 days later, I was so confused and hooked up to machines, seeing my mom and dad and all these doctors. And then my doctor explained to me, I went into sudden cardiac arrest 2 nights ago. And I said,
Unreal, right?
There's no way, I'm so young. That doesn't happen to people like me.
Except
and
it was very real.
Exactly.
And with the situation happening to Bronny James, it brings it in the national spotlight. We're not here to speculate on why this happened. We're just here to say that it can happen, and it does happen. And you say 1 in 300 kids have a potential detectable heart condition, Dr. Decker. That covers at least one in every elementary school, one in every high school in the Bay Area. It's something that needs a lot of attention.
Yeah, and just because they have a detectable disease does not necessarily mean they would have a sudden cardiac arrest. And our job is to try and tease that out, which sometimes is challenging. I mean, the why who we play for, I think, is so powerful is because this is a group of people that got together around a person who had a sudden cardiac arrest, a teammate. And so friends and families started this organization. And 5 years ago, they actually brought an Access to AED Act, it's called, to Congress to try and lobby for national financial and infrastructure
I'm glad you brought
support.
that up. I'm going to go in depth on that in just a second.
Right.
So to leave us with something here, where are we with things? This is something you want to bring to the mind of every parent who's watching us right now, that this is something that even if you think your kid's in great physical condition and you think their health is good, they should get a heart screening.
Right, everybody should have some sort of heart screening depending on where you are, at least a physical and a questionnaire done. There are programs where we can do ECG screening, but even with screening, not every disease that can cause sudden cardiac arrest is going to be picked up. And so just as importantly as screening, it is very important to have what we do when an event happens, because although these patients may be at risk for sudden cardiac arrest and we may not be able to detect all of them, we hopefully can prevent sudden cardiac death.
And having AEDs nearby is crucial.
Early effective CPR and AED use is essential for survival.
Brittany, you are the face of that for sure. Yeah. And you can speak to this as well to leave us with something. This is important.
It's very important.
It could happen to anyone.
Yes, and it happened to me, and I never thought I would be fighting for my life at such a young age. And it's just so important to just know your signs and symptoms, learn CPR, recognize where there's an AED in the restaurant so you can be the first one to go get that AED, because seconds and minutes count when somebody is going into cardiac arrest. And we just need to just all come together and support each other and just save one life, one heartbeat at a time.
Well put. She's Brittany Williams, not quite the Today Show, which you were on a couple of weeks ago,
Yes.
but we did okay here.
This is great.
And Dr. Decker, thank you both for being here so much. I want to talk about I want to talk about this. Who We Play For is continuing its mission to prevent sudden cardiac arrest in our youth, and one of its latest focuses is what Dr. Decker mentioned, the Access to AED Act, a bipartisan bill that awards grants to elementary and secondary schools to assist with access to AED, something that can be used when someone goes into cardiac arrest to restore a heartbeat. I put a link that has more details to the Access to AED Act on my Facebook page right now so you can read more about that initiative.